ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. And this is not a ship review. It is not a review of the Marceau. I just got the Marceau. I started playing some matches in it. And this is one of the matches. We're on a hotspot. We're in a domination match. And really, I started out with the intent of this being a Marceau review and died pretty quickly. It ended up being a question, and the question is simple. Is there such a thing as a BAD Kraken Unleashed? All right, so here in the beginning, we're a destroyer. We're going to go into Bravo. We're near the Bravo cap. There are 3 destroyers on our team. One of the other destroyers is here with me. And I was saying to myself, whatever I do, I don't want to go to the outside of Bravo towards the border of the map. Because if I do that, that will screw my teammates over. And anyone who does that, in my opinion, is going to screw their teammates over. Because while they're behind this island, to my left, they aren't going to be able to shoot at anything. So I see the battleship starting to go that way. And I'm like, hey man, don't go that way. Come in here and help us take this cap circle. And he says, okay. So I thought, all right, he's going to turn back in and he's going to support us and we'll be good. Needless to say, as you can see on the minimap, he is not doing that. But it's going to get worse. Right now, the other destroyer is in the cap. At some point, he's going to abandon the cap. And I'm a little bit busy plotting out what I'm going to do here. We've got a Harlem. He's being shot at by someone. And there is a Huron. And so I'm thinking, well, at the very least, I'm going to have to take out a Huron. And there's a 3rd ship in there. And at this point, the other battleship is totally out of the picture. Oh, I mean, is he really shooting over the island there? I don't think so. That is the other destroyer. And he's leaving the cap right now. He is abandoning the cap. And thankfully, there appears to be a cruiser coming in behind me. But we had not one ship ignore the cap, but we had a 2nd ship leave the cap and stop actively trying to contest it. There isn't any shots coming in from over there. There's shots coming in from behind me, from the other cruiser, and there's meaningless HE now coming in. But I really think that we would have been a lot better served if that battleship, instead of going around the island, taking his own guns out of action for the majority of the time, would have stayed in the cap to contest. All right, here we're going to get a kill on a drive-by. Unfortunately, as soon as this other destroyer becomes visible, essentially, we're dead. I'm going to turn, I'm going to launch torpedoes, and I'm going to try my best to stay alive. But at the end of the day, we're spotted. We're in the minimum detection. We're just not going to be able to do that. And I'm retreating post-haste. Finally, these other ships are coming in. The Huron dodges my torpedoes. The other destroyer, by the way, is totally out of it. And the battleship didn't come into the cap. He skipped the cap. He went to the outside of the 2nd island. So he's not even going to come in here and try to help us out. He bypassed the Bravo cap totally. So it's just myself and the cruiser that kind of showed up late. Now someone sonars me. I'm trying to shoot at the Huron. As you can see, I have about 553 hit points left. And I'm dead. I got killed by the battleship. And I was like, WTF. And so in my anger, I said, well, I'm going to see exactly what this bonehead is going to do. Now that he left us out to dry here, we could have easily taken Bravo Cap if he and that other destroyer had stayed in here. Easily. And now that's not going to happen. So other ships are dying. I'm trying to find... Here's the other Marceau. He's a little bit more than half health. Some other ship, another battleship, came into Bravo. I don't know. I guess maybe that was the other ship that I thought was a cruiser. He came into Bravo. The Marceau is basically just hanging out and letting this other ship getting waxed by the enemy destroyer. And again, that totally could have been prevented. But instead, he's just going to hang out here and chip some HE at him from about 7 kilometers away. And as you can see, it's spectacularly effective, like we all thought it would be. All right, so now that I'm sickened by that display, I'm going to move on to the other battleship, which has no damage to it whatsoever. Why? Because it totally bypassed the objective and sailed around the outside of it. Now, I think he has a kill, actually, believe it or not, at this point. But the objective, Bravo, is being capped out by a destroyer with almost no health, and no one is trying to get it. As you can see right now, the blue team has a pretty sizable lead. And I was like, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this was the right play. Maybe, although I don't agree with what happened, it's going to work in the end. But you'll see the worms start to turn as this match goes on. All right, so we're still in airplane view. Marceau is going to belatedly kind of go into the Bravo cap here. Based on what you saw, what odds do you give the Marceau of winning the combat against the much lower health destroyer in Bravo cap? All right, look, here's the other destroyer. Has almost no health. Salvo number 1, salvo number 2. Return salvo from the Marceau, almost no damage. Second salvo, almost no damage. Meanwhile, I don't know how this guy's positioned, but he's lighting up the Marceau. And as you can see, he easily kills the Marceau. Now that's a Huron. Maybe it had the zombie build going on. Marceau players got to be aware of that. But he got waxed. So, you know, I just... That's your plan? You know what I mean? You could have waited for the cruiser to come in. You double-team the Huron. Problem solved. So we switch back to the Vittorio Veneto, who suffered no damage. And I think he has 1 kill, maybe 2 kills at this point. I don't know how much damage he's done. That I don't know. And the good thing for him is that he's shooting at enemies that are very far away. So they're not doing a lot of return fire, and he puts up his rolling smokescreen anyway. Because those ships are spotted by other players, he's still able to see them and shoot at them from time to time. All right, the red team is now in the lead. Funny how our lead totally evaporated. We went from up, I think they lost 1 ship and we lost 3 ships. Incredible. So this is a good thing. He's going into the cap. He's capping it out. He's screened by the smoke. So he's going to flip this cap for the most part. Keep in mind, the destroyer capped out Bravo, flipped that cap, and now that destroyer is probably headed to Alpha to flip Alpha with no health. So Mr. Veneto here is going to have to kill 4 ships to win the match. So I think he has 1 kill at this point. All right, we're looking at Jean Bart, who appears to have all the attention of the enemy ships right now because the Veneto was in a smokescreen, he was behind an island, and so the Jean Bart is basically tanking all the damage. If I was the Jean Bart commander, I would be slightly worried that the destroyer behind me would be trying to torp me. That is apparently not the case. The cruiser over here does not have his guns aimed at the destroyer, and so the Huron burns him down. All right, now it's a 2-on-4. So we switch back to the Jean Bart. 2 fires are going. Again, he's fighting 3 enemies. All right, Veneto gets a close quarters expert on a low health ship that probably just came into its secondary battery range. He's getting very fortunate here that the enemy cruiser, and they're both cruisers that are left, is broadside to him and giving him the full broadside. So really, in this instance, it would be astonishing if he didn't get the kill upcoming, because the cruiser, for some reason, is not changing anything about his heading and whatnot. That salvo wasn't the greatest, and now that broadside maybe is going away, isn't totally there anymore. But he's got a good angle. His secondaries are engaging the other cruiser in the cap, keeping that cap reset. He's probably getting a ton of green cap defended ribbons right now. And they're shooting HE to superstructure, so he's not taking a lot of damage. He's not. I am presuming that at some point he's going to engage his main battery. I think he is turning to focus on the ship in the cap, because the other ship is so low health, his secondaries can kind of take care of it. Failing that, his front turrets can. He's going to turn to dodge torpedoes here, and he does finish off, or pardon me, the Jean Bart kills one of those cruisers. And so now he's going to just get up close and personal. There are no torpedoes left to damage him. And when we get to the right angle, he's going to light him up with his main battery here. And he's going to shoot him. Turrets are still turning. He's probably running into the island at this point. Secondary's still chipping away. And he's got him dead right there. All right, there's the Kraken Unleashed. So I think he had 2 kills initially when he was circumventing Bravo. All right, so because he had to turn like that, he's got to turn back to go into Charlie. Meanwhile, the destroyer has not only captured Alpha, but because the Jean Bart's turrets are on the other side of the ship, he is basically burning down the Jean Bart as we speak. And for a ship on such low health, you gotta admit that's pretty entertaining. The Huron is just going to keep doing it. The Jean Bart really can't mount a lot of defense. There, the Jean Bart is shooting back, and I don't know if it's an accuracy issue or what. The Veneto shoots at the Huron. The Huron gets the Kraken Unleashed by killing the Jean Bart. Now, because Veneto missed the Huron, there is not a way for the Huron to lose unless he is killed by the Veneto. And so at this point, if I'm the Huron commander, I am finding the border of the map as quickly as possible. They have a points lead. The points lead can't be overtaken with 1 minute, 22 seconds left. Why the Veneto put up the smoke screen, that I don't know. Maybe he's thinking, I need to cap. But I would be thinking, I want the Huron to shoot at me so I can shoot back at him to kill him, because I can't win otherwise. And capping the base, although it's going to help your base XP, it really isn't going to help you win the match, because they have 2 base caps and they have a points lead. So I don't agree with this. I would have been trying to get the Huron to shoot at me. That's just my opinion. But as the match winds to a close, I'm really curious what you guys think. Is there such a thing as a BAD Kraken Unleashed? And is this one of those things? If the Veneto had gone into Bravo at the beginning of the match, I don't think the blue team would have lost this game. And I'm just saying that because we could have killed the Huron right there. The Huron carried that team to victory. We could have killed the Huron. And if we killed the Huron, we would have won the match. So sometimes when you're out there reaching for that individual glory, hey, look, if the match is already lost and you get that kill to secure the Kraken, more power to you. But if the match is still in the balance and you're chasing the Kraken and you lose the match, was that a good Kraken? Anyway, here's the scoreboard. Great game by the Huron. Almost 4,000 base XP. Veneto had a Kraken Unleashed, 5 kills, bunch of medals. But was it a good Kraken? That's the question. I want to hear your answer in the comments below. We finished at the bottom of the board, folks. So clearly this wasn't going to be a Marceau review. Just a review of some gameplay that I found really interesting while watching the other ships go around. And I just wanted to point out the other Marceau didn't have a great game either. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button. I'll see you next time.